Giant hogweed is an invasive plant that we currently have in the UK. So this is a plant that's introduced and brought in actually as a result of the horticulture industry and people wanting these plants in their gardens. So it first came in about the 1820s. And it's now really well established throughout the UK. It's a species we're really concerned about, and it's really commonly found on riverbanks. It can be found in woodland areas or in disturbed areas that actually anglers are often coming across when you're out enjoying fishing. The first reason we should care about the species is its impact on wildlife. So it creates these really dense canopies along the riverbanks and around the lakes, and this outcompetes the native plant assemblages that we find there. And this means when it dies back in winter, it exposes these banks, and it means that when it rains, you can get runoff then running into the rivers in the lake system, which can impact kind of spawning areas and decrease water quality. The second reason, and a really important reason why we should care about this, is the impact it can have on human health. So the sap is photosensitive, so it means if it comes into contact with your skin and exposed to sunlight, unfortunately it can result in these really horrible burns and blistering that can come back year on year. So if you think about yourself when you're going out, you're looking around where you want to fish, or if you've got families with you and other people enjoying these places, if they don't know how to identify it, it might mean they accidentally brush against it and can result in these horrible burns. So that's why it's really important that everyone to learn how to identify this species and make sure that you're reporting it both on apps so it can be managed, but also to landowners and fishing managers so they're aware it's there too. So I've mentioned how important it is to learn how to identify the species, so how do you ID it? It's really important to consider these different characteristics combined rather than taking them alone, and that can really help to identify the species and how it stands out from other common species such as hogweed or cow's parsley. So the key thing to look for is firstly the leaves. You often find they're serrated, so quite jagged around the outside, and they have bristles underneath. Another key thing to look at is the stem, so you'll find there's some purple blotching on there, particularly further down, and some white bristles. And then the real giveaway, once it gets to the summer, is just the size of them. They're so tall, 2 meters plus above your head, so actually you'll be kind of noticing these when you're going along, and at the top of these you'll see these huge white umbrella flowers, and then you can be really confident that is giant hogweed you're coming across. As you get closer to the autumn, what happens then is that these stems die back and they actually look more stick-like. So you still have the flower heads, but just what's left is the seeds amongst the undergrowth. So you've come across giant hogweed, so what do you do next? So we talked about how it can impact human health and how dangerous the sap can be. So it's really important that you don't go near it and you don't touch it. It's always important to follow Check Clean Dry whenever you're out fishing or enjoying the water. So make sure that you're cleaning your nets, your boots and anything that's come into contact to make sure you're not accidentally transferring that species from one place to another. What you should do is report it to the fishing manager and the landowner so they're aware it's there and can cordon off that area before they start to manage it. Another thing you can do is report it on iRecord. This is an app you can get on your phone. You can take a photo of it, note your location, then upload it. This means that you're getting records across the country to help us map where it's being distributed, so then managers can go out and control it and help to protect everyone out there enjoying the waterways. If you're a fishery manager, you might be wondering about how you can control and tackle this species. So the best way to do it is to use herbicide glyphosate, which you can apply early on in the year before it flowers to try and hit it back and knock it back before all those seeds kind of sow. However, it's really important that you have the correct training for this, because you need to have a licence that you get from your regulator in order to use glyphosate, and you also need to undertake training to be able to use that near or in waters. So we really recommend that you get in contact with one of our environment officers who can help you through that process.